Welcome to Saturday Sport on the back of a much better weekend for the New Zealand franchises in Super Rugby, starting with the Highlanders' ugly though effective win over the Rebels. The Blues, the only real disappointment, looking a shadow of the team from the week before. Another remarkable draw for the Chiefs after being down 34-10 at the break. And speaking of breaks, a fractured thumb for Aaron Cruden throws a whole new light on their long-term prospects. The Crusaders found form in one where no other team from the Antipodes has all season. Jaden Hayward brushed past weak Reds tackling to help the Force snatch the points late in the piece, and the Tars got a win on the road. The Storm was just awful, home or away.
It's nice to get the win because that was really important for us to go 3 from 6 as opposed to 2 from 6, which would have got puts heaps of pressure on. So that was crucial to get back on track after last week, and we ended up on the right side of the scoreboard. So that's number one.
Disappointing to concede that early try because things were looking pretty good up to then.
Yeah, I think the story of the evening, to be totally honest, was we weren't as clinical as we needed to be. We created plenty, didn't finish, a couple of opportunities again. Unlucky a wee bit with the down the right hand side, Richard Buckman break and just slightly forward, but you had to finish those ones. And then actually shortly after that, I think Malakai Fekitoa went through, nice wee kick from Lima, and the pass just went down. So those sort of things just couldn't quite nail them again. So we had a bit of breathing space, but opportunities there probably to put that side away a wee bit more.
You've had a say, obviously, in Lima's improvement. As skills coach, you'd be very impressed with his consistency and accuracy.
Yeah, it's been great. Been great part of his game this year. I think a real development for him personally as a player, and that's not just in the kicking, that's in the entire game. And actually, to be honest, a lot of that's down to the mental approach of his mental game, and he's put a lot of work into that, and the processes he's got now that I don't think he's necessarily had in place and certainly hasn't had consistently, and that's really made a big difference.
Undeniably connected. If you're slotting every goal that comes your way, those little chip kicks seem to come easier.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, when you're playing well and you're doing the things that you want to do, then the bounce of the ball and all sorts of other things come your way as well. That's the way the game seems to roll. So you make your luck. That's the old saying, but it's a fact.
Massive game again for Shane Christie. Boy, he's stepping up every week.
Yeah, his work rate's phenomenal every week. It's up. It was one of our highest. I mean, pretty consistently as well, regularly. And he's a smart footballer, and he's a leader within the side now. Certainly, the way he plays the game, but also his deep thought and approach to the game too. So regularly good for us, which is great.
A word for Aaron Smith, 50th of course today, but took a bagging last year, didn't he? And he's come back and proved his worth 10 times over. Yeah, he's been great. He has. He's been very consistent as well. It's the word of the night, I know, but it's a fact because we know how good he can be and is, and didn't have a side to play around last year to give him the platform, and things just went gelling in general. So that's pretty hard on inside backs. But he's had a lot more of that, and he's knuckled down and just done his role very well. And then he adds those little bits extra that he can. And the reason he's an All Black halfback, and probably that try tonight was a good example of that. Next week it's going to be crucial to maintain the momentum, but of course with the bye coming up, you just want those points in the bag. Yeah, it'll be nice. They'll clearly be a handful, very powerful, the Bulls. So, we've got some plans in place around that. There's no doubt that we're going to have to play a hell of a lot better than we did tonight, because that won't be good enough, I don't think, against the Bulls. And the boys know that. There's pleased to get the win, but there's plenty of realisation in there that, we need to play a lot better than that to beat the really good sides. And they say the good teams on an off day can still find a way to win, so this is part of that maturing process. Yeah, and that's an encouraging thing. Certainly wouldn't have won that game last year, and maybe some of those in previous years as well. But you're right, you walk away from these ones and you haven't nailed it, and haven't taken opportunities and haven't taken a side apart where maybe you've got to a point where you could have, but you still got the win. And whilst you're disappointed on the one side, that the performance hasn't been really where you want it to be, on the other side, as you say, you got the win, and that's the most important thing anyway.
Lima's kicking sort of puts us out by those awkward numbers, 8 points and 10 points, and sometimes that helps in the end, and it did for us. And I think when they were on our line for that last part there, it was one of those things. If they'd scored in the sort of 75th minute, they got 5 minutes more to score, but they didn't score to about the 78th, so it was really good for us. It's always a little bit easier on Monday when you've had a win and you're not as sore. So there's a lot of things we can sort of get sorted for next week as well. What about the Buckman pass here? Did you think that was forward at the time? Nah, obviously I didn't think it was forward, but I knew that I was running onto it quite hard, and I was hoping. But that's rugby, back in the day, no replay. You just have to call what you see, and I think at first glance it might have looked a little bit borderline, but from the when it was on the slow-mo, every pass travels forward in a sense when they do the flat ones. So it's a disappointing thing, but I got a dot later on, so I was very happy.
You got a legitimate one, didn't you? So just when you do your 50th, you reflect on the first game you played. What are your instant recall of that?
I was playing in the Highveld and Pretoria, and I came on about 30 to go, and we're up by about 15, and I was playing through to pre, and that was an awesome moment for me, playing like a guy I'd looked up to my whole life. And then the Bulls made a big comeback, and it was like the crowd got into it, and then we got a late try which put us out. So typical Highlanders rugby, always leave it to the end, but I remember that night very well, and first game and my first trip to Africa, it was just like a whole buzz of things, and being able to play at Super Rugby level was awesome, and obviously learning under Jimmy Cowan and stuff was awesome. And then the funny thing is our assistant coach was Tony Brown, and he was the first guy I passed to in Super Rugby, so it's pretty crack up now he's coaching me.
It's been a fabulous 12 months for you though, isn't it, form-wise? It's, you're just getting better by the day.
Yeah, I guess it's just got to keep striving to get better in that, and it's a bit disappointed with that slip tackle on their halfback, which led to a try, and then the interceptor through. But that's rugby, and I just got to keep my standards high and just keep attacking it on Monday, and just got to get the body right and just prepare every week to play as good as you can.
Just for the record, Scott, it is Future, isn't it? We hear a few different variations.
Oh, mate, my whole life has been various ways of saying it, but anyways, fine.
What's your preference?
Fugelstaller.
What derivation is that? From what country?
Swiss German. My grandparents are from Zurich, so I'm almost 3/4, so I'm a good chunk.
You're sort of a part Aussie at the moment, aren't you? Play over the real.
Mate, I'm part everything at the moment. One more year in Australia, I can play for so many different people, so that's quite interesting.
Well, the way you're playing at the moment, you'll have a few choices. You'd be happy with your game, but you just couldn't pull off the comeback this time around.
It was just so frustrating. We were making the same mistakes the whole game, and they were exploiting those. They were exploiting our weaknesses that we couldn't fix, so that's pretty disappointing. And I guess the Chiefs are going to look at that as a blueprint for next week, and going to come at the same places, so we better fix that quick smart.
You've got a bit of mileage in the chips from behind, a bit of confusion there in defence.
I think it was more created from the pressure of not being able to exit our 22. They were very good at playing to the width, and we couldn't exit properly, and they put that pressure straight back on us. So instead of getting out for set piece and resetting, we were kicking it to them. They were bringing it down to our 22 and putting the pressure back on, and finding holes in our defence.
The scrums weren't the prettiest to watch from the sideline. How much fun to participate in?
Oh, not much at all. It's been a bit of a sort of a guess the whole season. You feel like they're doing the same thing. The props from both sides are doing the same thing, and then you get a penalty your way and penalty their way. It's a bit of a lucky dip, but the rest have got a pretty hard job there, because that's just the way it is with scrums.
Did you enjoy the battle at the breakdown? Shane Christie's had a pretty good season. That was pretty fierce.
Yeah, he's a great player. He's come along leaps and bounds through the New Zealand Māoris last year, and it was a great battle. A few boys took a few head knocks, and as is the case with a hard battle at the breakdown. And we always knew that was going to happen with the Highlanders. They pride themselves in their physicality at the breakdown.
We're going to see you in ITM Cup once this is over?
No, we've got the new NRC in Australia, so when you're contracted over there, you're required to play there. So that'd be interesting, just like finding a new team and a new home. So I guess that's something to look forward to after Super.
So the Sharks remain on the top after their bye. The 6 points the Chiefs picked up in the Republic, keeping them safely in the top three for now. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. That is the Force in a playoff spot well into the season, and on form a chance to stay there. The Hurricanes stay in the hunt on points differential. The contest below is intriguing, with just one win's worth of flag points between 7th and 12th. The Rebels remain outsiders, while the Cheetahs and Stormers are interested spectators at best.